So good day everyone. Today I'm going to discuss about the different equipment for the marine environmental protection and different documents required by the annexes. So first, let's talk about the equipments. So first is the ODMI, or which is the oil discharge monitoring equipment, which is used to monitor oil discharge to follow MARPOL when the tanker discharges the seawater from the slop tank, where the seawater used to clean the tanker after unloading the cargo to be prepared to ship other kind of cargo to be stored. So the purpose of the ODMI is to discharge as much as water, but not to discharge oily water exceeding from the limit of the MARPOL regulation. So next is the oil water detector, or oil water interface detector, so which is an electrical instrument for detecting the boundary between oil and water in tanks. So however, the equipment is not limited to oil or water application, but can be used whenever an accurate interface control between two liquids is necessary. So according to IMO's regulation or resolution of Marine Environment Protection Committee 5, oil tankers shall be provided with effective oil or water interface detectors approved by the administration for a rapid and accurate determination of the oil or water interface in slop tanks, and shall be available for the use in other tanks where the separation of oil and water is effected, and from which it is intended to discharge an effluent direct to the sea. So next is the oily water separator, or OWS, which is a piece of equipment specific to the shipping or marine industry, and it is used to separate oil and water mixtures into the separate components. And the purpose of this is to separate oil from wastewater, such as bilge water from the wastewater it is discharged to the ocean or the environment. So next is the port reception facility. So it is a kind of provision that any international shipping port must provide this in order to collect residues, oily mixtures, and garbage generated from a sea-going vessel. So the arrangement must be such as the receiving operation that can be performed as fast as possible to avoid undue delay to ship. So that's all of the equipments. So next is the certificates. So first is the International Oil Pollution Prevention Certificate, or IOPP, which gives the details of all oily water separation and filtering equipment, and also the associated monitoring equipment required under the convention. So it is required by MARPOL Annex 1 Regulations for the Prevention of Oil Pollution, which is the Regulation 6, and it is required to the ships of oil tankers of 150 gross tonnage and other 400 gross tonnage and above. So next is the International Pollution Prevention Certificate for the carriage of noxious liquid substances in bulk, or NLS. So NLS certificate. So this certificate is required in Annex 2 and shall be issued after an initial or renewal survey in accordance with the provisions of Regulation 8 of this annex. So to any ship intended to carry NLS, or noxious liquid substances, in bulk, and is engaged in voyages to ports or terminals under the jurisdiction of other parties to the convention. So next is the International Sewage Pollution Prevention Certificate, or ISPP. So this is when the ship is equipped with a sewage treatment plant or communitor, and a discharge pipeline has been surveyed. Also, the survey shows that the ship's structure, equipment, systems, fittings, arrangements, and materials are satisfactory, at least certificate complies with the MARPOL Annex 4. So next is the International Air Pollution Prevention Certificate, or IAPPC, which is a certificate issued for a marine diesel engine. So the certificate shall comply the engine throughout its life and shall be available on board at all times. So it is required by the Regulation 5 of Annex 6 of MARPOL Convention, and ships will carry the certificate of every 400 gross tonnage and above. So the last but not the least is the International Air Pollution Prevention, or IAPP, which is a certificate issued for a marine diesel engine, which is the IAPP certificate shall accompany the engine throughout its life and shall be available on board ships at all times, and it is required by the Technical Code on Control Emission System from nitrogen oxides from marine diesel engine, made mandatory by Annex 5 or Annex 6 of MARPOL. So next is the International Energy Efficiency Certificate, or IEE, which is required by Regulation 5 of Annex 6 of MARPOL. It is a newly introduced certificate, so it is mandatory for all vessels of 400 gross tonnage and above. So contrary to most statutory certificates, the IECC is not connected to a survey scheme and does not have an expiry date. So that's all for the IEE. So next is the International Anti-Fouling Certificate. So it is required to the the MARPOL International Convention of the Control Anti-Fouling Systems on Ships, or 2001. The survey shows that the anti-fouling system on ships complies with applicable requirements of the Annex 1 to the Convention. So that's all. Thank you.